KMOX presents Around the World in 60 Minutes with your host, Michael Dixon.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us as we present travel deals, destinations, and adventure that will help make your next vacation your best vacation. Today we have a special extended edition of Around the World in 60 Minutes. So, on tonight's program, we're going to tell you about the right way to rent or buy a timeshare and how to sell yours if you want to get out of the game. And thanks for being with us on Around the World in 60 Minutes. Ever thought about buying a timeshare or selling the one you already have? Well, timeshares are a world of their own, so we're going to talk to an expert who specializes in timeshares. He's Lucas Gilkey of TimeshareLifestyle.com, and he joins us now. Lucas, welcome. Not everybody understands timeshares. Why don't we begin with a primer?
Yeah, definitely. You don't necessarily own the timeshare. The resort will allot you, many times these days, it's called a float week, which means you can use any week during the year if you reserve it far enough in advance. So all 52 weeks will be open. You pay the resort a price, and then you're allotted that 1 week for that year. And you make a reservation in advance to use that week at the resort of your choice. These days, a lot of the resorts have multiple resorts included in with them, and they'll go by a point system. Blue Green uses a point system, and it allows you to pick one of their resorts from anywhere in the world, basically. So by buying in with Blue Green, you're allotted a certain number of points, and they determine how many points a resort week costs based on the resort and the week. Obviously something like 4th of July or New Year's is going to be more points than something if it's a down week.
Explain exactly what the points are.
You have a allotted number of points per year, and you can use those points at a resort anywhere in the world. And the number of points you get typically is based on what you pay initially.
Now, you can add points if you need to for a higher level location or a more specific season. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're always willing, if you call them up and say you want to purchase more points, they're always willing to sell you more points.
And so this is like buying a house or a car or anything else. There is negotiation available.
Very much so, and everybody's negotiating on everything. And timeshares especially, every little aspect of the timeshares, are negotiable.
Like what?
Maintenance fees is a yearly thing that a lot of people don't fully understand when they get involved with a timeshare. We deal with people on a daily basis that are paying $750 to $1,000 a year in what the resorts call a maintenance fee.
Yeah.
And it's just a yearly fee that's involved with owning a timeshare. A lot of people don't know that you can go in and try and negotiate that when you buy it. And we get people that are paying different maintenance fees for the same thing all the time. If a person goes to Vegas to go see a free show, they'll to one of those timeshare presentations, and they'll be pitched. They're going to pay for a lot of the marketing that's involved for that resort, and they'll also, have to do a lot of the negotiating on their own. With us, we help the sellers reach the buyers, and we've got a proven advertising system that works where the sellers come to us. We help them list their property, and we bring the buyers to them. With us, the buyers can come, and there's no hard pressure sale. They come in and they make an offer on a property that they like, that they would like to purchase, and we take that offer to the seller. The seller has the option of turning it down or accepting it. And a lot of the prices on our site are negotiable. So the sellers these days, especially these days, they're willing to negotiate like everything else. And we help those buyers reach those sellers and help people sell and rent their timeshares.
Wow. Now, do you charge a fee up front, or are you commissioned the way a real estate person would be?
No, it's illegal for us to take a commission. Just the way that timeshares are, a lot of the resorts will sometimes make people kind of under the impression that it's a real estate property, and it's not. It's, if you contact IRS, they're going to tell you it's a luxury item. It's not a piece of property. And you don't get a property deed with the timeshare.
Right, okay.
So we aren't allowed to charge commission, and we aren't allowed to take a fee on the back end. It's actually against the law in Florida for us. So we do charge an upfront fee, but it's to cover the advertising. There's kind of a bad connotation in the market with charging upfront fees. Some of the other companies try and put that out there, but realistically, every single company in the market does charge an upfront fee. Whether or not the property is going to move more often than not is based on where the person is willing to price it. Asking what you originally paid for it probably isn't realistic.
How long do you handle that property?
It depends. We have a lot of different packages available that cater to each seller and renter's specific needs.
Where are your properties located?
We have properties listed on our website from all over the world, and we also do advertising all over the world. Different people will want to own in different places. So, depending on what they want, they can deal with our offers department and come in and say, I'd like a timeshare here, and we can recommend a resort for them, or they can come to us already looking at a specific resort, and we can help them from there.
How much difference would there be in price during the same year from buying it from the original developer as to buying it on your site usually?
I've seen differences of 40% and upwards. It can be more, it can be less, but I've seen a lot of them right around there. The timeshare is more like a car, like I had mentioned earlier, just because when you drive it off the lot, it does depreciate.
Sure.
You aren't going to be able to sell it what you originally paid for it. Some people aren't comfortable with that, and if they aren't, then we recommend that they keep it and they continue to use it, because if they still owe money on it, obviously they don't want to take a loss on it. And unfortunately, we've also dealt with people, with the economy the way it is, that have had to go into foreclosure because they either aren't making their monthly payments or aren't making their maintenance fees.
Right.
And the resorts have gotten to a point where they are willing to work with people and help them out, which is great.
Now, if I came to you and I said, I think I'd like to buy a timeshare, what's the process?
Okay, basically what we do is we find out where you want to go and when. That's the two biggest factors as far as, what we're going to recommend to you.
Okay, let's say I want to go to Scotland in July.
Based on that information, we'd go check our inventory with what our sellers are offering and see if we can find something for you. We'd find out whether you want to buy or whether you want to rent, and from there, see what we have available. And if for any reason we didn't have something available, we work with a lot of other companies in the industry, and we'd be able to find you something that would fit your needs.
I've heard you can buy a lifetime timeshare. Is that possible?
For the most part in the U.S., it's a lifetime timeshare, and you're either allotted a certain week per year, or they'll do it biannually.
In the U.S., it's very common that they have to use some period during the year, and you can't carry it forward most of the time. Is that right?
And they've gotten a little bit better. The point systems are better with allowing you to carry over like that.
Let's say somebody wants a timeshare in Cabo San Lucas, and they call you up and they say, hi, I think I like your company. Can you find me a timeshare in Cabo? Unlike a house, you can't exactly go there and preview it, can you? I mean, how does that work?
No, unfortunately you can't. And what we recommend to a lot of the sellers is that they do rent their property out. And a lot of times if a person rents their property and goes and checks it out and they do like it, they'll come back and decide they want to purchase it. So that's one of the big things that we do recommend to people that are selling their timeshares, is to definitely rent it out, and that way you can get interested buyers into the property.
So in other words, if I wanted to do one in Florida this year and one in California next year and one in Mexico the year after, I could come to you each year and find a different timeshare. Is that right?
Definitely. And that's a big thing that we let people know about. Like I said, it does, especially if you're a seller, it does help buyers get into that property. And we also let people know that are selling that, once you do sell it, you can always come back and choose a resort wherever you want. You aren't limited, and you don't have to pay those maintenance fees once you've gotten rid of it.
Are they becoming more popular, or is the blush off the rose? What's the status today?
I don't have actual data from the resorts on how many timeshares they're selling. Some of the companies aren't publicly traded, and they don't make that available. But from what I've heard lately, a lot of the resorts are going through a series of layoffs, which makes everyone kind of lead to believe that they aren't selling as many as they have in the past.
When you rent a timeshare, how would that compare to going to the resort and renting the same kind of room?
Sometimes the resorts won't rent directly because either all the rooms are allotted for, or they just don't have one available. Typically, all the rooms in the resorts are allotted for. Lately, people have been foreclosing on them, so they do have some stuff that's available. So, if you are looking for kind of a very short notice and looking for something that's a fairly good deal, you can oftentimes call up the resort directly and see if you can get a room for, a few nights or a night or whatever. If you're looking to do a week-long thing, it might be better to actually look at renting one from somebody that owns a whole week. But especially if you're going to the resort, a lot of times you'll get tied up with their selling process as well. And if that's something you aren't looking to be involved with, then it's also better just to go through a resale program.
Okay. Now, do we start the process by going to the website, or can we give your office a call?
You can do either. I love dealing with buyers and sellers and renters on the phone, and our website's very user friendly, and it can help you out with whatever you're looking for.
All right. The phone number is 1-800-616-1966. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1-800-616-1966. And again, the web address is timesharelifestyle.com. You've been great. Listen, we really want to thank you, Lucas, for doing this with us.
You guys ever want to come down and do an interview on the beach, we'll be more than happy to cater to you.
I've got my sandals and towel. I'm ready to go. Hey, listen, we will talk to you again. Thanks again for being with us.
Great, guys. Thank you.
All right.